What's up, guys? Welcome back to Scene Invaders, episode 397. I'm Chad. I'm going to start trying to introduce myself every episode because I've been an absolute fail at this. So, hi, guys. I'm Chad. I'm here every week.
Chad.
Hi, Chad.
Hi. I'm so happy to be here, guys. We also have Brad from Canada, who I'm always happy to introduce. How's it going, eh? I even failed at that shit pre-show. I was like, damn, I thought I had that quote down, yo, but I failed. And Mr. Coach,
watch a lot of SCTV and Bob and Doug McKenzie. That's where it comes from. So yeah, I can't take credit for that.
And Mr. Coach on location from, I saw the TV glow. Mr. Coach, what is up?
Yeah, I mean, well, you guys sport the red, the purple, and I just said, let's be blue.
Yeah, I can't. I've tried so many different colors behind me or whatever, but I always come back to this like sort of pink one. I just like it the most, and I don't know what that says about me, but it just looks nice, man. Like the blue always is a little bit weird. And when we did the long legs episode, that red, it was a slightly different setup at that time too. So things were a little bit more sus. And yeah, I noticed that as I looked back at it, I was like, wow, that was a rough one. But it did look like I was reporting from hell, which is kind of what I was going for. So I guess mission accomplished, right?
Got it. Well, I got the red going on. It makes my place look like I'm kind of on fire, and I'm cool with that.
I like it. Yeah, you are on fire, Brad, Daddy. Fuck. Oof. Let's go.
Hello.
My hero.
But this week, of course, we watched tons of shit. I think I take the crown this week for watching the most stuff. I saw 4 things. Brad had a light, easy week. He had some axe throwing to get done and some hot dog grilling to do. So he didn't have a whole lot of time for media this week. So I respect it, man. I need to take those kind of breaks myself, but the addiction is real.
The addiction is absolutely real. So since I have the lightest, maybe I'll start and finish real quick.
Absolutely, sir.
Like I said, I played outside a lot this week, and I was just not in the mood to go to the theater. It rolls up every once in a while, and we're kind of saying goodbye to the summer. So I thought being outside was a lot more beneficial than being inside. So
it's beautiful weather time, man.
It is absolutely,
well, at least other than Florida, but yeah.
Yeah, what Florida is it with like a balmy 85?
Well, it's been
humidity of 100.
It's been like raining every day for the last week and a half, and the temperature hasn't been bad, but like it's just still like it won't really cool down until like December.
And
like in a signal
December, yeah.
We'll get down into like the 30s for a little bit.
Okay.
Especially at night, but like usually cool during the day is at the coldest, like 40 to 45, something like that. And there's not a ton of that, but you do get it. Like you can wear hoodies, and sometimes you need a jacket and shit and all of that. But yeah, it's my favorite time of the year here for sure. I moved to get away from winter, and then I like craved like the little like touches of cold that I get while I'm here. But I don't want winter and I don't want snow. I'm good on all of that.
Well, that's what we get up here. So,
and that was our weather report, guys. So
yes, thank you for joining for our weather report. It's everybody's favorite small talk is the weather. So I did go inside and I did click on Netflix, check out. I was just in the mood for something to purge the awful anime that was Terminator. Or
just like holy water, just sling
heroin or something. Like, no, I don't know. It just bummed me out because I really wanted to like it and I didn't. So I checked out the anime section and just looked, and something came up that it's been on my radar for a long time, but I never really dove in. Netflix has a history of remaking really good things into live action and making them bad. So I thought I'd check out the original, and that was Death Note. Death Note
I was literally just thinking those words in my head when you said that. So.
There's
a little kid who just shot a ball against my door, and I just shot him the Death Note.
Okay, right. You don't mess with
the coaches. I love the coaches at work getting paid to do this. Yeah, so I checked out because I'd heard so many good things. I saw the Willem Dafoe remake, just the look of it, but I never actually sat down and watched the original. So I popped that on, and it's basically about a death demon from what would look like hell drops his notebook on Earth for a human to pick it up. And when the human picks it up and writes a name, and pictures their face in this notebook, they die. There's rules behind it, and and various machinations around it, but it's like after 6 minutes after you write the name, you have to picture their face as you write their name, because a lot of people have the same name. And if you do not write the specifics on how they die, they have a heart attack. Now, it's always a high school kid in anime that finds these things. And now this high school kid, I don't know what it is about anime that they will either make a child a super perfect, amazing hero, or just the most awful piece of trash ever. Well, this kid his name is Light, is an awful piece of trash. And he writes about 1 trillion names in this book because he wants to be a god. And it was such a juxtaposition of this evil thing finds this person, and this person does evil with more evil and more evil and more evil. And then the evil trying to catch him is evil. And it's like, my God, this is dark. So it was like, I don't know who to root for.
Okay.
It's stunning to look at. It's stunning to look at. And the rules they lay out, you're never really expecting it. And then at the end, they explain why it happened. And you're like, oh my God, that makes absolute sense. But Jesus, no one could figure that out. So it's like, I can't even remember how many episodes, like 20 episodes. It only got 1 season. Like I said,
is it resolved at the end of the season?
I haven't watched the whole thing yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I just dove in. I'm about 8 or 9 episodes in, and it is a cat and mouse game. The law is looking out for these people. They're all criminals that are dying. So it is kind of a bit of the young man Light is doing kind of benevolent work, but murder is still murder. And because Light grabbed the death note, there is this horrific looking demon that hangs around him and talks to him that only he can see him.
Right.
But the kid is very clever. So it is kind of fun to follow along with him. I am going to finish it. It did intrigue me enough. Like, well, I didn't watch this many episodes of the Terminator.
Right.
And I wanted to watch that.
You've made it way farther here for sure. And then after this, like, I assume you'll probably go and watch the live action thing, right? You have to probably see the comparison.
I've seen, I think I've seen a couple episodes of it, and it kind of fell flat. And everyone said, you got to watch the anime. You got to watch the anime. And I'm like, sure, I will. And then a couple years later, I didn't. And then a few more years later, I didn't. And then I just said, then the Terminator came out, and I'm like, I got to do something. Yeah.
Okay, right. I got to cleanse myself. Lollipop.
Like cleanse it, like burn my eyes or stuff. So, yeah. Beyond that, and a lot of campfires, a lot of axe throwing, screwing around. That was my week.
Your axe throwing skills looked pretty legit, homie. I was like, I've never done that. I'm kind of scared.
No, you don't throw.
I'm clumsy. Oh my God. I feel like I'd somehow end up like cutting off one of my limbs, just somehow, even though like that's almost impossible to do. I'm that kind of clumsy.
You come up here, I'll take you axe throwing, and I'll show you how to do it proper.
I'm coming to Canada for sure.
If I came down there, I'd have to bring my axes, and they don't let me do that anymore.
Yeah, there it is. I'm sure there's probably actually, I think here, as interesting as it is, they have like mobile axe throwing things that are on like
mobile axe throwing. That's called serial killing.
Oh well, no, it's like these long bed like trailer things with cages around them or whatever. And I think I don't know if they go to part.
That's called human trafficking.
Okay. Welcome to Cedar Painters Podcast, guys.
Yes, well, no, actually, there's an establishment by my place called Bad Axe Throwing. So I went and I joined the league and did really well. And then
oh hell yeah,
built one at home, and I'm like, why am I going to a league? I got one at home. So yeah, my landlady is the best in the world.
I love it. That's so dope. Anything? Did you watch anything else this week?
Not a damn thing. I read a couple of comic books.
Okay.
I'm enjoying the Energon universe from Skybound Comics, which is a lot of Transformers and G.I. Joe. Yes, I said Transformers again. And yeah, it's
a running theme, guys.
It has been very entertaining. I'm looking forward to keeping on reading. Skybound is the guys that gave us Invincible and The Walking Dead. So
okay.
So yeah, that's about it.
Nice. All right, so we're on to me, guys. I saw 4 things this week. 2 I'm going to discuss on my own, and then Coach and I saw Rebel Ridge and Beetlejuice, which we will discuss together after I get these out of my way. So nothing soaks my manties faster than the words A24 and horror together.
Is it horror, right?
Yeah, horror. Yes.
Okay.
So there was a new A24 horror release, and like I said, few things excite me more than that. Called The Front Room, directed by Max and Sam Eggers, brother of God. I just failed at this fucking podcast, guys. The Northmen and Nosferatu, and yeah, that was a fail. Anyway. But yeah, so The Front Room, guys, starring Brandy and Catherine Hunter. And like I said, I went into this very excited. It's very, very rare that A24 horror misses for me. It does sometimes. Like Men was not one of my favorites, and kind of other than that, I can't really think of anything off the top of my head that was as I wouldn't call this a slog, but that kind of hit as low as this one did. Oh, Robert Eggers. God, guys, there it is. Robert Eggers. His brothers directed this film. So this is a horror comedy. I don't know if it's quite fair to classify it as that. It has way more comedy in it than I expected it to, and that was not my problem with this. But it follows a pregnant couple who are close to having the baby, having financial issues, and the husband of this couple has a stepmother who he has a terrible history with, and his father has just died. Has not seen them in forever, and they cross paths due to the funeral, and a proposal is set out there. Hi, you can have all of our money as long as I can come and live in your house, and you take care of me, coming from his stepmother, basically. And that is the setup here, and man, this movie was it. I hate to just shit on it because I did have a little bit of fun with it. Like I said, it is kind of funny. There are some moments, it's kind of kooky, it's kind of wacky. Catherine Hunter just lays it out on the line, man. She gives one hell of a performance. She is fearless in this role, as it's kind of hagsploitation in a way. Like, it's definitely exploiting old people and like some of the
Showing
gross
how
things.
awful they can truly be. I saw
Definitely.
I saw a couple trailers, and yeah, like the highlights are definitely she's very manipulative. She's extremely evil. She hates everybody, and she like pulls that off pretty well.
Definitely. And like
But
she's like
at the end of the day, she's a decrepit old woman. Punch her.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that too. But they kind of set her up as you don't exactly know what's going on. She's like wildly religious, and you don't almost know kind of if there's like maybe a supernatural element to this as
Then
well.
you definitely punch the supernatural old lady.
That's what I'm saying. And I guess like she holds the purse strings in the situation, and they need the money. So I kind of get that in a way, but like it just pushes things so far to where I would have had that bitch in a home, on the curb, a pillow over her face, whatever the fuck, like before it got anywhere near like where it gets. There is so much,
and flush her down the toilet.
There is so much piss and shit in this movie, like literally, that I was shook by the end of it. And like, because she's incontinent, that becomes like a plot point here, that she's incontinent, and Brandy is struggling to deal with this woman who is clearly being nefarious at times. She's giving her little sly smiles, like, I know what I'm doing. Yeah, I just shit all over myself, but what you gonna do about it, bitch? Like, very shit like that. But
nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what happens. Basically nothing. It tries to explore themes of like race, religion, motherhood. And I thought it had a lot of like interesting ideas there. But really, by the time it all ended, I just was like, what was the point of this? It just really comes across as pretty pointless. It's just soulless, and it's repetitive, and yeah, I didn't love this one, guys. A very, 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 very mild borrow, maybe.
Okay.
If you don't mind a lot of like piss and shit, and again, I did laugh, and like
they do the piss and shit just to make you uncomfortable.
Yeah, but it's so oh god, there's a scene in this movie where this woman has done shit all over the place. And Brandy is essentially tasked with cleaning this up. And there are scenes and scenes and scenes that go by where Brandy is in these like shit cover. I'm like, bitch, you are at home, ho. Get you a shower and get you a new outfit on because I'm tired of looking at shit all over your clothes, basically. I mean, this is like presented in a timeline that this is far beyond. Yeah, it just was
gross for gross sake.
Kind of, yeah. And there is a funny element to it, but they push it so far. And like I said, it becomes so repetitive because it is sort of just the same thing one after another and nothing new being done here. And it does build like a touch of intrigue because you can't kind of help but wonder what exactly is going on here. What's the motivations here? But like I said, it just amounts to nothing. So like the mildest borrow I could ever extend to it, but only if you're ready for the things that I previously described.
Good luck, everybody.
So quick question. How does one decide to put Brandy in their movie?
Yeah.
I thought that was
the last time I saw the trailer and I'm like, I know that girl. I don't know who she is. But
I'm sure she's been in other movies. I know she was in I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. I'm a horror guy, so like that's the last thing I personally remember her from. And she's not terrible in here, but she's going up against Catherine Hunter, who is giving this larger than life, just insane performance. And Brandy is a much more subdued character here, and comes across, I think, sometimes as a little bit like weak and helpless, and all of that. And you just can't match the power of what Catherine Hunter's giving. Whether or not you like this movie or where it's going, you can't sit there at the end and be like, yeah, Catherine Hunter failed this shit, because she didn't. She came for the assignment and she did what she was asked to do, and she did it with zeal, man. Zeal and excitement, and it was a tour de force. Yeah, and excrement. God.
So I have a fun Brandy fact. So I am in southeastern Philadelphia area. I graduated high school the same year as Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant went to high school. The late great basketball player Kobe Bryant went to high school 20 minutes away from where I grew up. He took Brandy to the senior prom.
Oh no shit.
Okay. So she flew all the way out from, and it was a big to do in Philadelphia. It was Kobe Bryant, the darling of the Philadelphia area.
Sure.
Took Brandy to the Lower Merion high school prom.
That's cute.
Subscribe to Scene Invaders for all kinds of facts you didn't know you needed in your life.
Damn right.
But no, Brandy, I think she's lovely, and I still don't quite understand the casting here, but I don't know. It just was, and I especially coming from Robert Eggers, who for me has not had a even remotely near a miss yet, and Nosferatu is probably the movie I'm most excited for the rest of the year.
Oh yeah, me too.
Like, and I think his brother, I forget what his brother. Oh, I think they wrote The Lighthouse, which I loved. And they wrote and directed this, but this just, I don't know. I don't know if this was sort of a nepotism thing in a way. Like, yeah, like you wrote this good movie that your brother directed, so A24 is like, yeah, here, just make whatever the fuck you want and have that woman shit everywhere. We'll put it in the theater. And
it worked for the Nolans.
And I will say, like, there were probably like 10 or 12 people in my theater. Okay, right.
Whoa.
There were like 10 or 12 people in the theater that I went to. And this is the kind of thing that, like, maybe if you saw it in a totally packed theater, like with a rowdy crowd, like could have like come across as a little bit more fun, because the people seemed like, some of the pockets of people seemed like they were having a good time with this. A lot of audience reaction, a lot of like, not in that annoying way, but like sort of like talking back to the screen and like reacting to what's happening and all of that. And yeah, like it could have a definite like midnight movie appeal or quality to it, but this is not cinema, not in my opinion, and was definitely a big disappointment from A24 for me. What is not even remotely a disappointment for me is a movie called Red Rooms. I had heard the name of this. I had absolutely no idea what this was about, other than a lot of people had said that it was very disturbing. It's a French-Canadian film that just happened to pop up at my AMC, and I was like, oh, I have AMC A-list, so I'm going to absolutely go and see this. And I went in incredibly blind to this, and I left that movie theater absolutely shaken. I did a short little YouTube short, and on Twitter as well, I posted a short video saying that this movie left me with the high that I chase. That's my dragon as like a film lover. Like I'm chasing this dragon the way I felt after seeing this movie. It's essentially a this is going to sound wildly unexciting. A courtroom thriller / character study that has a lot to say about people's obsession with true crime. I thought this movie was absolutely horrifying. You follow really one main woman, but two women for a lot of this runtime who are obsessed with this trial that is currently going on about a serial killer who has abducted and murdered on video 3 high school age girls so that he could post these videos on the dark web in what they call red rooms. And from the sound of that, it sounds like it would be an incredibly graphic affair, blood and guts, disturbing in that way. And it's not at all. Not a drop of blood really even on the screen here.
Really? That's refreshing.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. And it follows these two women who, like I said, are obsessed with this trial to the point where the one main character that we're calling Kellyanne, played by Juliette. Okay, these people are like French Canadian, so forgive my pronunciation, guys. I'm just a Florida living American guy.
Let me see if I can do it.
Poutine.
Stop it.
Juliette Garepi is our main character here, who plays
Juliette Garepi.
Yeah,
you guys say it sounds like the scene from Inglorious Bastards. Anthony Papetto.
Okay, right.
I'm Italian. Buongiorno.
Oh, I feel so seen right now. But this woman is like, she's obsessed with this trial to the point where she's a model. She lives a fairly affluent lifestyle, has a bomb-ass apartment in Montreal, and she's actively going every single night of this trial and sleeping in an alley outside of the courthouse to be like the first in line to be just sitting there like as a spectator for the trial.
Nice.
And she meets another woman who has traveled to this area.
What's her name?
Her name is Clementine.
Okay.
Or it might be Clementine since it's French or whatever the fuck. I don't remember.
Clementine. No, I don't know.
But she's traveled to this area because she is also obsessed with it, but for a very different reason. She is obsessed with the killer himself. She's absolutely convinced herself that he is not guilty because she sees something in his eyes.
She's like one of the brides kind of thing, or
yeah, it explores that obsession that women get with people like the Night Stalker, whatever it may be, where they develop this sort of romantic fascination with someone.
Yeah.
You never understand the main woman's what she's wanting out of this. You never understand. Like, it doesn't seem like that's exactly her fascination here, and it explores the mind of this woman with this like sidekick who loves this man basically as this trial unfolds, and things slowly descend into, honestly, probably like I think one of the most horrifying things that I've watched this year. And again, not from a graphic standpoint. This movie is a fairly slow start. Not slow as in boring, but it's not action-packed. And it's never action-packed, I wouldn't say, at any time here. But I think the first 20 minutes of this, you're literally like in a courtroom just listening to like opening lawyers, like what they have to say. Yeah, opening statement. And then from there, you never quite know exactly where this is going. And like I said, the mindset of the main character that we're following. And as those pieces start to fall into place, this movie at one point absolutely grabs you by your neck and just slams you against a wall and just says, here we go. And boy, did we go. And like I said, when I left this movie, I felt shaky by the end of it, because you are just relentlessly forced into this spiral of, oh my God, I can't believe what I'm seeing. I can't believe what I'm watching. I can't believe that just happened. And I cannot possibly recommend this movie highly enough. Up until now, Challengers has been my #1 movie of the year. And I will say that right now, it does still sit in that #1 spot for me. I have only seen this once. I am dying to see it a second time. And that will determine, I think, for me, whether or not this dethrones Challengers. I left both of those movies feeling a very similar way. They're wild. I mean, they're not even remotely similar movies, but I left with that like excitement coursing through my veins that I just watched something that was just so incredibly special, important, and just electrifying, truly electrifying. And it, like I said, it's a bit of a slow burn, but man, does it pay off in a way that few things have for me in a long time.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so watch it, guys.
Nowhere near me.
Yeah, and it's a very small release. It came out in 2023. I think it did festivals for a little while, and it generated quite a bit of buzz there. But like as far as like US releases, I think this past weekend was the initial release, and I think it is going wider this coming weekend.
Looks like it might be on Prime Video.
Yeah, I don't think it's quite there yet since they're putting it out now in like US theaters, but eventually it's definitely going to come to a streaming service. And I was just telling the guys before this is the kind of thing I highly recommend you go into and just give your attention to it. Put your phone down, sit, let this movie like pull you into it, pull you under its spell, and you are I mean, I can't imagine anyone who's not going to get to a point with this where they're so gripped by it. Like I said, where it takes it that moment where it grabs you by your throat and just pins you and just makes you take it and take what's happening here. And it left, I've not stopped thinking about this since I watched it. And like I said, I can't wait to see it again.
Strange how, like, so this is playing at a Regal that's like 40 miles away from me. Mm-hmm. Now, then I can pretty much hit a 9-iron and a golf ball will bounce to a Regal in 4 different directions. So,
yeah.
And this was the same thing with like Perfect Darlings too, where like I don't understand. Like if it's playing at a Regal, just play them at all the Regals. Like I understand like some movies will play at AMC and not at Regal.
Sure.
But like it, I don't know. I'm looking at the stuff that's in the theaters and the stuff that's getting like 20 show times and stuff. This last weekend was silly. Whereas like the top movie made 110 million and the second place movie made, I think it was 7 million.
Okay, wow.
So it's like, what are you feeling?
What do you got to lose?
Yeah, like, what do we really need 30 Deadpool screenings? Like,
do we need 12 of the 17 theaters showing Beetlejuice? Like,
yeah, they're going to be empty anyway. Like, put a Red Rooms and put a Perfect Darling and put these little movies that, everybody says, well, there's nothing new out. Sure, there is.
There's plenty that can be new. Yeah, absolutely. It looks like you can rent it on Prime Video.
Oh, yes. Oh,
or if you have Crave in Canada with your subscription.
And I know both of you guys aren't exactly like, and I wouldn't call this horror. I do solidly put this in the thriller category. I do think it is disturbing.
Thriller.
And I think it is.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, and it is horrifying, but it's not horrifying in a horror movie kind of way. It's horrifying in it just goes in directions that I truly did not expect. Because again, you're left in the dark for so long about what exactly is making this woman's mind work and what's ticking like behind her eyes and stuff. And when all that starts to come into focus, damn man, it had me floored, pinned to my seat. And I literally left the theater like shaking a little bit. And normally when I do these kind of things, I'll post shorts on YouTube and I put them on Twitter as well for friends. I try to do it like as soon as I get in my car, but like I had to drive to the gas station, get some gas, like grab a couple things from there, and then drive home and stuff. Because I had to have a minute to like let this just like process for a minute, because I would have been a disaster on video with this. But yeah, just one of the absolute best of the year. And if you like horror, or I'm sorry, thrillers, and especially like psychological thrillers, I don't think you can really do better.
You said it was coach friendly.
Yes, I think it's definitely coach friendly. This is not like horror like that. I said horrifying.
No ghosts.
Only just because definitely not that. And like I said, no violence. There's implied violence and there is violence that you hear but never see. This is much more about the psychological aspect of what is happening inside someone's mind and how either like fucked up or maybe not so fucked up like some people might be in their motivations for this sort of obsession, especially that we're seeing like more modern nowadays with true crime content, podcasts, YouTube videos, all that kind of stuff, and how people let that take them over. And
hey, you guys, do me a favor. Okay. I heard this somewhere, and it it compelled any male to walk up to any female and say, "Do you listen to true crime podcasts?" 98% of them love true crime.
I do too.
I don't know what it is. I walked up. You
It
see
is a very
anybody wearing
female heavy thing, man.
it is
Yeah.
anybody wearing earbuds, and I say, "Hey, you listen to true crime?" Yeah. I'm like, all right, keep on walking. One little tick. Hey, true crime? Yep, that's 2 ticks. Legit, 98% of anybody listening to females listening to a podcast, it is a true crime podcast. I don't know
Yeah.
what it is.
It's just, it's something that's so fascinating. And this movie is very interested in exploring that and not necessarily giving you answers in one way or the other. But I've never seen an exploration of this subject matter done in quite this way. It just really leaves you wondering. Because, like I said, a big part of this is character study as well. Like, you are getting to know this main character and her motivations and what's going on and what's like in her head and why she is obsessed with this particular trial and all of that kind of stuff. And it's just absolutely insane. It reminded me very much of the films of like Michael Haneke, Funny Games, where
Oh, okay.
he's like kind of like putting in your face, like, yeah, you paid to watch this and it's fucked up.
Watch it.
And what's wrong with you that you're watching this movie that I made about fucked up shit? And like, it's very kind of like in some ways confrontational like that without being the same exact type of thing. So yeah, very, very interesting stuff, man. And whew, like I said, vying for my best of the year right now. So
Very cool.
one more watch will solidify it. But I will say, but I also with Challengers, I couldn't stop thinking about that movie and I can't stop thinking about this. And I need one more viewing under my belt to unseat my queen or king or whatever I'm calling Challengers for the year. I feel like I want to call Challengers a queen because it's very that, but
very queeny. Yeah, I'm done with that.
And then the other things I saw, Coach is going to join me on, man. So I like I said, I had a busy week, this guys, and the next one we're going to talk about is Rebel Ridge on Netflix from director Jeremy Saulnier, who I have loved for a very long time.
Huge
His Netflix
fan.
original Hold the Dark is amazing. I know not everybody loves that movie. And then Green Room, I still think to this point is his masterpiece. It's absolutely incredible. And if you have not seen Green Room, whew, you should. But yeah,
The Green Room's one of my favorite. Blue Ruin's a favorite.
Very clever guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's really talented at just getting, a real bang for his buck. Like, doesn't really. Patrick Stewart played I don't want to call him a Nazi, but almost like a white supremacist.
Yeah, a neo-Nazi.
Green Room, and it was terrifying. Like,
yes,
like Captain Picard was terrifying to me. So
definitely.
I mean, I was excited once I heard he was involved with this. I saw a big buzz on TikTok about it. Basically, it's the story of an ex-Marine who is trying to get through small town corruption. He's trying to bail out is it cousin or brother?
His cousin.
No, it's not brother, it's cousin.
Yeah.
And basically falls into small town politics. And it's almost a little bit of a Rambo First Blood, where it's like,
really?
Yeah, it kind of becomes him versus the town, or it's kind of a town that's run by the local sheriff's office.
Yeah.
This was such a responsible response, to asset forfeiture laws that have been going nuts in the United States. So asset forfeiture laws is basically if you are pulled over and you have excessive cash or anything like that, the police can basically take that and say it's under investigation for, this is a strange amount of money. It's under investigation for drugs or anything like that. And they can just take that money.
Jesus.
And then they could appropriate it to like their budget. Like, it's kind of crazy. Like,
you can fight for it, but the fight is essentially not going to be worth it in the end for you.
What it is.
So they just basically take your money and run.
I think we have the next big star. To me, like in the next 5 years, Glenn Powell and Aaron Pierce are going to be the two hit guys.
He was
great. The irony is Aaron Pierce was not the original player. They actually started filming with John Boyega.
Oh shit! I
Oh,
didn't know that.
really?
And he backed out.
Oh, interesting.
So
I wonder why.
like after a couple days, or I don't know why, but like that was like Aaron Pierce came in and he kills it.
Mhm.
I mean, like
He just has this like quiet confidence about him. He's always
Mhm.
so assured. You always see like these. He's like I said, he's calm, he's quiet, he's assured. He's always got these wheels turning in his head though, and you see it. And you come to understand now, like throughout the movie, exactly why those wheels
Right.
are turning and how they're turning. And it makes a lot of sense for sure. And yeah, he just was, yeah, a
he also
powerful
he
action
also
star.
has like some of the most captivating eyes I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like they are bright, light, sparkly green.
Yeah.
And it just like draws you in. You also have a couple other like semi-recognizable people. You have Anna Sophia Robb, who I haven't really seen
Give
in a
her an
while.
Oscar.
She was great.
Yes, best supporting actress Oscar for this movie for real. If there's justice in this world, I loved her. Yes.
She kind of plays a recovering single mom trying to get custody back of her kid, and
Yeah, like a recovering drug addict.
Yeah. You have David Demon, who is the Pam's original boyfriend from The Office, and he plays
I like him.
a semi-corrupt cop, which is
Oh,
great.
he's so hot too. Oh my god.
Don Johnson is the chief of the sheriffs. It's really an almost believable story when you see like the corruption and how they portray it.
Okay.
And it's we kind of went through all these protests and Black Lives Matter and Blue Lives Matter and back forth and all that. And the art community did a piss poor job coming out of those things and representing it. It's kind of like, you had Vietnam and the arts community really just took up.
Yeah, they
and
really made some masterpieces
yes.
out of a horrible situation, unfortunately.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, even like the 80s with like the AIDS epidemic and all these other things, like the arts have been on the forefront of trying to portray all these things.
Yeah.
Not so much out of the let's occupy Wall Street, Black Lives Matter, Blue Lives Matter, back and forth, all those type of things. This does an excellent job of kind of just cutting through the bullshit of everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
will check this out. This sounds
it's not like it's not a heavy-handed message movie, I don't think.
No, it doesn't
way more
sound
on
like
its
it.
mind.
I don't want one. I don't go to the movies for a lesson. It popped my feed and it just I just didn't watch it. I don't know. The poster didn't capture me or anything. It seemed very unassuming.
I think like it will remind you a lot of First Blood of just
I agree with that.
A cat and mouse chase. And listen, it's not a perfect movie. To me,
Right. I agree.
The ending's a little suspect. There are some things. The mountain biking next to the bus was a little like I understand what you're trying to do, but it's like, oh, I gotta floor the bus. Oh, I gotta floor this pedal bike.
You gotta forgive some movie magic as well.
It's like, okay, it's a plot hole we could drive a train through, but it's okay. Like the movie survives anyway.
Definitely. But Jeremy Saulnier, like, I mean, he gives us an action thriller,
yes,
essentially, but it's just a little bit more uncommon than what you would get from when you hear the words action thriller. It has much more on its mind than that. Again, without ever becoming preachy, there's a lot of subtext here and a lot of things to look into and read into it and take from it. But it never bashes you over the head with a message or any of that kind of stuff. But it definitely leaves you. It just has more on its mind than giving you action or thrills.
There's many layers to this, and I mean, he does know how to set a mood in terms of just the way that he films things. It instantly gives you a mood that he's trying to accomplish.
Yeah. And one thing I thought was very interesting here is that with the amount of sort of like, I want to say like, it's not a super heavy action movie, but there are moments of it. And at least from our main character, the almost zero use of guns in this movie, I thought was very interesting on his part. Because you expect, especially against like police force and all that kind of stuff, it's going to be like a gun shootout heavy type of thing. And some people might be a little bit disappointed in that, but I thought they handled it so smart because as you learn more about his character, it makes a whole lot of sense for him. And then suddenly, like, I mean, when he's involved in certain situations, you are using sort of like what's at your disposal, and it's not like you're necessarily running around with like guns on you or any of that kind of stuff. And like sometimes you're also trying to empty guns and get them away from people who are trying to use them on you. Therefore, also like making guns not viable for you as well. So I think there was not a statement there, I wouldn't say, but it was just a slightly different way of doing things. I just thought it was a little bit refreshing. I'm incredibly pro-gun in every single way, but I just thought it was refreshing that it didn't exactly devolve into what you would expect from all of this. I think some friends that I've talked to seemed a little bit disappointed by this. I think they wanted a kind of more straightforward, like shoot them out, like just like regular ass, like we've seen it 100 times, like action thriller, and this doesn't really ever give you that. It gives you moments of that, but it just I think truly different ways that
I'm kind of glad they did that because just from what you said, we've seen it.
Yeah, exactly. It's really trying to give you something a little bit different. It has more on its mind than just giving you bland shootouts.
The irony is like the guy is de-escalating, he's always trying to de-escalate the situation.
Yes.
Which is, you know, the kind of subtext to a lot of this.
Yeah. But yeah, if you have Netflix, I can't recommend this enough for sure. I mean, push play on this shit. And if you hate it, turn it off. But I would imagine most people, as long as you like stuff like this, like action thriller, I would think you're going to become pretty invested in it because like the conspiracy of the town and what's going on and with the police department and all the like courthouse and all of that kind of stuff I found fascinating. And like as it moved along and you're getting kind of more and more answers to this, I found myself edging sort of like closer to the edge of my seat because I was liking where this was going and the answers we're getting and like kind of the conspiracy of it all. And it's got a very interesting story to tell outside of just mind-boggling action scenes and thrills. So yeah,
I will give this a shot.
A definite recommend. It doesn't hit green room though.
Yeah, I'd say it's a solid borrow for me.
A solid, I would say, yeah, it's a solid borrow to like a buy it on sale for sure.
Yeah.
If it's on Netflix, you're already buying it.
Yeah, exactly. And if it's on Netflix, this is an absolute push play. Like,
well,
I love many other.
Not everybody has Netflix.
I don't.
It means like borrow means don't pay for it.
Yeah,
you don't need to pay for it. Yeah,
I would add this to my collection though, just because I do admire Jeremy Saulnier so much, and I just admire what he was trying to do here, even though it was not 100% successful. It was successful enough for me, and it left such an impression that I would somebody actually just messaged me on Twitter today, DM'd and said, "Hey, I'm sick as hell, and I want something good to watch. What should I watch?" And I was like, "You have Netflix. Throw on Rebel Ridge like as fast as possible because I mean that's the kind of shit you would want to lay there sick on the sofa and just watch, and it's perfect for something like that. And it's not like the best picture of the year, but extremely solid entertainment for sure."
Well, that was something to watch at home, but you guys went to the theater to see something else. So tell me about Beetlejuice Beetlejuice.
Yes. Beetlejuice Beetlejuice, man. Brad hates Beetlejuice. Let's just get that out there now. He's a Tim Burton hater who hates Beetlejuice. No, I'm just kidding. No,
I'll give a caveat right now. I like Beetlejuice. I think the people around him are annoying. And Tim Burton as innovative, yada, 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 genius, yada, 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 whatever. Not really. It's not my cup of tea.
I get it, for sure.
I think the greatest movie that he ever did, out of all the movies he's ever done, I love Johnny Depp. I love all of that, but my favorite Tim Burton movie is nope.
Ooh.
Try and take a guess.
Johnny Edward Scissorhands, I'm assuming if you said Johnny Depp.
I was going to say Dark Shadows.
0 for 2.
No.
Oh, okay.
Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Well, how's Johnny Depp?
That's his first movie. It's amazing. No, he said, even though I love Johnny Depp.
Oh, I didn't say Johnny Depp was in it. No, I know Paul Rubens was one of my heroes. He was hilarious. He did the Broadway show and had the TV show, everything. But yeah, it was so stupid. stupid, but I was at that right age for some stupid.
I think it's brilliant. I loved Pee Wee when I was little. So quick story before we get into this, because since you brought it up, man, I have to share.
I did, man. Quick story.
So hi,
story.
I'm a homosexual. And I think my mother knew that from a very early age. So
people even use that term anymore. I'm sorry.
I love saying it. I think it's so funny.
That's the greatest.
My mom, of course, knew this from a very early age. So I was very into the movie and then Pee-wee's Playhouse, the TV show or whatever, when I was younger.
Yep.
My mom hated that I watched that shit, and she was convinced that Pee Wee Herman was turning me gay. Which of course he wasn't, like, but I just thought that was funny that you mentioned that. Yeah, no, exactly. But I had the fucking toys and everything.
It was man. Cherry made you gay.
Yeah.
No, that's Cherry made Curtis? JD Vance. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, no, we're not.
Oh,
and if we had any listeners, we'd have hate mail.
Okay,
oh God.
Send us hate mail, guys. Engage with us. We're happy to take it, and we'll always be nice.
That was good. That was good. I like that.
But yeah, Beetlejuice, a 36 years later legacy sequel that honestly I thought actually acted as a true and proper sequel to the original. This was not a rehash of Beetlejuice. It brings back all of the main players, plus probably too many more people, unfortunately. But for me, I thought this actually worked pretty well. I'm not sure. I don't know how you feel exactly about it, Coach. Did you like this?
So I liked it, but let's go down the list here.
Okay.
Justin Theroux, didn't need him.
I agree, but I still love it.
Didn't need him. Willem Dafoe, didn't need him. Danny DeVito, didn't need him. Like, there's 10 freaking stories in this that just don't need. Like,
yeah.
I will say, and Brad, you will actually get a kick out of this. The father in the original Beetlejuice turned out to be a really bad person.
Yeah.
So
we'll leave it there.
Unfortunately, allegations of pedophilia and all the rest.
So they, the basic story starts with, well, they have to sell the house because he has died, and they handled it the best I've ever seen. Where they go into Pee-wee Tim Burton style animation, and he dies off that way, and so he finds his way to the underworld in a way where it's just a torso, basically.
Yeah. It's him walking around without a head.
It is
somewhat. So they can have the character there, but without him.
Yeah, it is somewhat clever. But they put 1 million people in this movie, but they never even referenced the Alec Baldwin or the Gina Davis character.
All they did was say they found a loophole to move on, and that's all they left it at that, and just kind of shit them away at that.
Like, come up with something a little bit better.
Yeah.
Jenna Ortega is awesome in it.
She was.
She just absolutely is captivating. Even though Winona Ryder does come off very medicated, like she's still good as well.
Medicated.
I listen. I'm not.
She's a very different character than she was. She's a very strong, angsty teen in the original Beetlejuice, and because of her ability to see spirits here, I'm not trying to spoil it. I don't think we're spoiling anything so far. Because of her ability to see spirits, she has now come into her adult life. This is 36 years later,
right? And
she hosts a TV like ghost hunting or ghost. She helps people with ghosts paranormal type of show, and I think it's taken a bit of a toll on her. She also has a kind of messy relationship with her daughter, who is taken over the Winona Ryder role from the first movie. She's angsty. Right. She has daddy issues, all of that kind of stuff, and a lot of anger toward mom. And yeah, I thought the Winona Ryder character, it's just such a wildly different character from the first one. You kind of do see where they're coming from with it, but something felt a little bit I don't know, kind of off. It just felt a little off to me.
It's a little messy, but I enjoyed being in the world, and
and it feels like the same world. Yeah.
I thought the world was a little the best way I could describe it is when they went into the afterlife in the first one, it felt like such a 3D world. Like there was just row after row of background, and you can always see something different each time.
Yeah, there was depth. A lot
This
of depth.
came off as very 2D, where it's like we got a couple great little pranks. Like you had said, the one lady that you can name my cats. Like we have a couple little pranks, but there's nothing kind of going on. In the first one, the background of the background of the background has amazing things. In this, all you have is a background. So I relate to it's a 2-day movie instead of a 3D movie.
I get that for sure. And you spend a lot more time in the underworld or like the post-life world in this movie than you do in the first, for sure.
Right. So, I mean, like, I don't know. Is this a movie that we needed? I don't necessarily think so. Am I glad it's here? Yeah, like, I didn't mind being in this world. If they could simplify it a little bit, I think, like, there is a lot more room for Jen Ortega to grow. Like, again, this should have just been the Catherine O'Hara, Winona Ryder, Jenna Ortega in like bring Beetlejuice into their lives.
Yeah, you guys both mentioned a lot of cameos like Danny DeVito, Willem Dafoe, and not a cameo. Justin Theroux is, I believe, is the father, the stepfather. How was Michael Keaton?
He's in this movie a lot more than he is in the first Beetlejuice, and honestly, to me, this felt like exactly in the same world as the first movie. They captured the feeling in the world of that first movie brilliantly. Like everything that worked here, it really, really, really worked. The few things that didn't work kind of didn't work, but to me weren't like a huge detriment. But I thought Michael Keaton was hilarious, and he gives one of the best, so I guess from what I understand now after seeing this movie, you can use the word fuck in a PG-13 movie one time. And it's the best use of that that I've probably maybe ever seen in a PG-13 movie, because it really did make me laugh the way it was used and the way he delivers it and stuff. And it just felt like kind of like slipping on like a comfy t-shirt and like old boots in a way, if you like that original. If you don't like the original Beetlejuice, this is certainly not going to win you over and like suddenly make you love the Beetlejuice universe or any of that kind of stuff. But Michael Keaton was on his A game, in my opinion, and like really came to deliver, even with some of the slightly odd choices I think that they gave him in this. There's a part that goes into like black and white and sort of tells his backstory with like his ex-wife that he's now trying to escape and stuff, that I thought was actually really cute and very interesting, but it didn't quite make sense or totally fit here. But they were just like really kind of, I think, trying to go balls to the wall. Like we might never get another chance to do this shit again. So let's just give him everything and let's go for it and let's do all this now. And he was a delight. Catherine O'Hara also an absolute delight. A scene stealer every time she's on screen here. Like one of the things early on in the movie that really got me, and it's absolutely so her. She's still the same character from Beetlejuice. However, she is a little bit more human here. She's gotten older, of course. She's definitely still an artist and still has that artist sensibility and all of that. So they're holding a funeral at the house from the original movie, and the entire house is covered in a black veil. And at first I was like, what the fuck is going on? And then I was like, that is a fucking veil on this house. And it just was like one of those moments of like inspired perfection that just fit that character so well. And and it was so funny. And and like I said, I think she's a scene stealer every time she's on screen. She just is funny, man. Like even when she's not even when like the lines aren't funny and shit, she just is funny, and her reactions are funny, and her interactions with people are funny. And I could have watched a whole 2 hours of literally just her and probably her outtakes and all of that. And this one, it started off rough for me. At first, I was a little bit like, oh shit, this is not going to be good, guys. I was scared for probably the first 20 minutes or so. Then it does kind of slowly but surely start to find its footing. And then about halfway through, you get this plot element that I'm definitely not spoiling here that really made me sit up and go, oh, this is really interesting and definitely not what I expected here. But this movie, unfortunately, introduces so many different plots and, like we've said, characters that it's just trying to do entirely too much, and it becomes a little bit unsatisfying in the process because they're trying to wrap everything up, but in doing that, they're kind of leaving a lot of things just kind of half-baked, I think. Characters and plot lines that
Still gets
just wrap
lost.
it just wraps up. Some things wrap up a little bit too quickly, and I'm like, shit, we set up all of that for just that. Or wow, we've watched this person do this throughout this for just that, kind of that. And
All
yeah,
style, no substance.
yeah, so, I mean, in a way, yeah. But again, I definitely do recommend this, and I give it a highly recommended if you like the original. It's messy,
Okay.
but it's absolutely positively filthy with fall vibes. This feels like fall. It feels like Halloween. It feels like
Okay, good
the
timing then.
leaves are turning. Like it feels just it's like that perfect, like kind of nostalgic type of thing. And I would say this is a family movie, but not for the youngest kids. I think this is a little bit darker and a little bit more violent, maybe than the original. So like maybe kids under maybe like 10 or 11, this might be honestly a little bit too much for them.
Well, it's a
So
PG-13,
family,
right?
yeah. So family, but
I'll do
not
13
like
and up.
yeah, not the youngest of the family. But I did have a good time with it. I almost always go to the movies by myself, guys. But I went with quite a large group of people that I work with because everybody was excited for this and wanted to go see it. So I was with a crowd that night, and a few people felt basically the way that I did about it. And then a few people who really love Beetlejuice and stuff were kind of like, I didn't really love that.
They
But
wanted to like it a lot more.
yeah, but it seemed like my crowd in the theater, which was 75% full, I would say, on the Thursday night, like open air or whatever at 8:30, seemed into it. And I mean, there were people like dressed up, people came in looking like Lydia and all of that
That's
kind of
good.
stuff. So it
I
seemed
like
like
that.
people
I like
did
when
like
people
it.
have fun with that.
It's not perfect, but it is mostly successful.
Cool.
Yeah, so I guess finally I'll sum it up with my father reached out to me and he's just like, "Oh, was Beetlejuice any good?" And I'm like,
Oh.
it wasn't bad overall. I enjoyed it, but it was a little messy. So I mean, I'm going to give it a borrow.
Okay.
I think that's kind of the safe place to put it. I'm not rushing up to get the DVD. I don't think the theater experience adds anything. I had
agree.
the opportunity to sneak in to see it in IMAX, and
Okay.
I just didn't even bother.
For me, I think this is definitely a buy, only just because of I'm going to give it a buy off of literally just the vibes of it.
Okay.
There's a lot to like here, but this is the kind of thing I could see myself throwing on like through the fall or through the little bit of cold we get here in Florida, like as just background while I do chores around the house to like come in and out of and like get that sort of like fall nostalgic feeling without like pandering to like Halloween or fall. Yeah, Halloween happens here, but it's not a movie like based on that or around that. It's just got that like there's a crisp in the air feeling to it that I
Little
loved and I
chill.
think is very comforting, and I would buy it literally for that reason as like background music.
Very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the three of us are sitting here looking at each other, waiting who's going to broach the next topic. So, screw it, I will. We lost a legend. We lost an absolute legend a couple days ago. Depending when you're listening to this, Mr. James Earl Jones died at the ripe old age of 93. That's a long life.
I'll never live to 93.
I'll say good life. I don't know. I'm assuming he had a great life. I'm hoping he did. But what he did was provide us with a lot of great entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
We all know him as Darth Vader, as Mufasa, as I'll go some deep cuts. The trainer in Best of the Best, the father in Coming to America, and I think my first exposure to him would be in Conan the Barbarian.
Okay.
He had a voice that is unmistakable, a presence amongst him that is just intoxicating. When you saw this man, you knew it was a level of quality that was going to be associated with the film.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorite things I ever saw him in was in an episode of House.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
where he played a dictator that came into the hospital. He was an African dictator that came into the hospital. And if you guys are familiar with House, there was Cameron and Chase. And Chase actually poisoned him, and was the subsequent reason that Chase and Cameron split up. So if you're getting into that drama, but the performance was astounding, as everything he always did.
He's a legend.
Even his other TV, when he was on The Big Bang Theory and played himself.
I didn't know that.
Oh no, it's please look up the clips because it is so
good. It's so
nice because he embraces it better than I've seen any, like with the I guess the sci-fi community,
the fanboy.
Yes, like he just embraced it, where people can be prickly and even like toxic about it. He was all in.
Whether, of course it was an act but everyone knows, if you Big Bang Theory, Sheldon, he tracks him down to try and get him to come to his Comic-Con because he wants to start his own.
Mm-hmm.
And Sheldon's there standing over him, and he says, "Let me guess, you like Star Wars?" And Sheldon nods his head. He says, "I've been in other things." He says, "But you don't care about that, do you?" Sheldon shakes his head. He says, "You just care about Star Wars." "Well, I want to tell you something." And Sheldon leans in. He looks at him and says, "I like Star Wars too. Sit down, join me." And he just goes on, and it is stunning. From him taking him to a strip club to
Ding dong ditching.
Is this just in one episode?
One episode.
Holy shit! God.
Yeah,
it's in one YouTube clip, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Ding dong ditching Carrie Fisher and saying she's a little nuts. It is hilarious, and Carrie Fisher's in it. It was masterful, and it was what every nerd ever wanted to see.
Of course,
he had this gravitas that no matter what he did, it instantly made it better. Like you look at something like Coming to America, or even Conan the Barbarian, where like if you remove him from it, it's not as good a work.
No.
Like Denzel Washington was recently nominated for the film version of Fences, where James Earl Jones actually won a Tony for it in the original adaptation of it. And gosh, I mean, yes, we all the voice, but it's more than the voice. There are tons of people that have amazing voices. It's what you do with it.
Yes.
And for a guy who is, grew up with a stutter and a speech impediment, and then just becomes this huge, gravitas of actor. It's an amazing story of all the things he did, but he was never too serious about anything. He's always willing to do like a Big Bang Theory or make fun of the characters that he was.
Exactly.
That's good. It keeps you human, I think.
He knew the world that he inhabited.
Sure.
Which might be the reason of he's an EGOT winner, right? Like he's won an Emmy, a Tony, and an Oscar. And a Grammy,
I think. I would assume he's a Grammy thing. I'm on the Wikipedia right now.
Yeah, I thought I saw that within, I heard the news and I did the quick search, and then you're getting so much fan art of, you have Mufasa and Darth Vader at James Earl Jones' tombstone saying thank you. And
that's the kind of legacy I think you want to leave.
Oh my God! Yes, I've never heard a bad thing
universally beloved. Yeah, it's universally beloved by, I mean, really everyone across the board. Even if you kind of only know him as Darth Vader or whatever it is, like you love that so much, and he is never going to be tainted in your eyes because you love that so much.
So technically, he's an EGOT winner.
Oh, really? Okay.
He got an honorary Oscar for like a lifetime achievement type.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So, but again,
I believe in those for real.
Yes,
I do too. If the Academy is like, listen, you're better than all the performances that have been
Well, if you've been nominated this
Celebrated
number of
today.
times and yeah, like you've been in so much and yeah, you've been consistently great, then yes, you deserve to be honored regardless of whether or not whatever project you were in that year wins. If you've like contributed so much to like film and cinema and shit. Like
Right.
I'm here for that.
So I guess as we, lament the passing of this great actor, is there any actors, actresses that you can think of that just their mere presence in a film um, upscales the
Elevates
movie,
it.
elevates it, makes it better, just by them being in it?
Yeah.
Well, I have an actor and an actress. So
Okay.
you guys mind if I
I
go
do too.
first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Well, the actress for me is someone that it might be a little understated, but I've always just when you see her, it's like, okay, this is going to be something. And for me, that's Sigourney Weaver.
Oh, she is one of the goats in my opinion.
Just I could go down the list, but my God, it's everything. She's just a presence, and she can do it with just a head tilt and a sly, wry smile.
Mhm.
But whatever she says, you listen.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And so that for me is a mark of quality.
Oh, she's
Now
I
the
agree, man.
actor is something I've never ever seen to a poor performance. Even the bad is still pretty good. And that is Denzel Washington.
Oh, he's a goat. I agree.
When he shows up, he could be 5'2" and
Is he
walk with it.
5'2"?
No, he's like 6'3"
Oh,
or
okay.
something like that.
Okay, I
He
was
is
like, damn shit.
but
He on the
he could walk like he's 10 feet tall and just own anything.
he's magnetic every time he's on screen, I think.
He's
no matter
magnetic.
what
He's
it is.
magnetic. He's that.
Yeah.
He's that. And when Coach broached the subject, like who else can? Those are the first two that I thought of.
Okay. Gotcha. See, I thought about it from a slightly not from a different perspective, but I thought about it from a slightly more modern perspective. There are so many actors and actresses that, of course,
Pee Wee
that, like,
Herman.
okay, right. Paul Rubens, pour one out, guys. Like, but there are so many actors and actresses across history that you can, of course, subscribe this kind of thing to. But I really wanted to come at it from who are people that are kind of up and comers now, or like finally finding their way right now, that are becoming these people and becoming the like names that are a mark of quality and all of that kind of stuff. And I also have a male and a female, and my female is going to be Florence Pugh. I think she is honestly like a modern day mark of quality. Is everything she's in great? It's not. However, I think she lends it a lot of credence, and I think she is always outstanding and great. Even in like Don't Worry, Darling, which isn't the worst movie ever, but she elevated that movie a little bit further than probably it deserved to be elevated. And I think anything I see her name on or attached to as a project, I am immediately excited for. And I know that I am in for, at the very worst, an incredible performance from her.
Cool.
And then my male version is maybe a little bit more like controversial with some people. I am a horror guy. He doesn't always do this, but he has been in a lot of horror, especially as of late. And that is Dan Stevens. He is incredible. He is a mark of quality for me. He's been in so much great shit, from The Guest to like Cuckoo most recently, Abigail earlier this year. And when I see his name on something, I'm excited because I know that at minimum, I'm going to have an absolute blast watching him just chew the scenery in whatever role he is given. And I know that was maybe a little bit unorthodox or weird to kind of approach it from that way, but I really wanted to think about it from this slightly more modern advantage, because otherwise it would have been Kate Blanchett, even though Borderlands, bitch, we're not talking about that. Otherwise, though, that hoe elevates everything, and I think she's amazing. But yeah, I just really wanted to like give a little bit of like name recognition and shout out to like some of these up and comers that are like right now finding solid footing and finding their way and becoming movie star. Means something I think a little bit different than it did but who are like becoming like these modern day like movie stars.
Very good.
So it's funny, when I was researching this thing, I realized how much certain actors and actresses have disappointed me recently.
Oh,
Where
hey,
like, I think this kind
look
of
at you, bitch.
well, like this used to be like insert Morgan Freeman for cred. And
Yeah, he's amazing.
I think he used up a lot of his cred for just silly movies now. Like
Sure.
he was in like the octogenarian. It's like, we're not old, we're young, we're doing a bank heist. Whatever. Okay,
No.
fine.
You're
You
old
know,
and you're doing
and
bad
again,
coats.
Kate Blanchett, I was that was one of the ones on my list, and then I remember I left Borderlands early.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, Anthony Hopkins, but he was in a Transformers movie. I can't put someone that was in a Transformers movie.
And he didn't elevate that. That's the thing. He didn't elevate that Transformers movie.
There is no elevation of a live
That's facts as fuck. For
I think
real.
they might have used an old Orson Welles voice. I mean, like there is no elevation of it. I have three, two of them being actresses.
Yeah.
One, Kate Winslet.
Oh, yes.
It's kind of like everything she does, she goes all in. And even when she did the Ricky Gervais, I think it was called Episodes or no Extras, and she kind of takes the piss out a little bit. So like that one, you know, like I think she's just a stone cold lock in kind of everything she does.
Have you ever seen Heavenly Creatures with her and Melanie Linsky?
Yes.
Oh God.
I think that's a Peter. Is that Peter Jackson?
Peter
movie?
Jackson. Oh, and it is absolutely it's stunning. It's amazing.
That and
she was much younger there, yeah.
Well, yeah, that she did like a 1-2 punch of that and Holy Smoke with oh gosh, he was in Reservoir Dogs. Harvey Keitel.
But yeah, that's a good choice, man. That's not even something I thought about.
That's really good. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So my other male, even though like 9 was a little bit of a disappointment, would be Daniel Day-Lewis. It's just kind of like you know, like okay, he's in it. This thing could be Oscar worthy. Like it's just automatic.
He's one of the greatest living actors ever. Like not anymore.
He's just one of the more fearless. I like people who are
shoe cobbler now, but
right
when he was on, when he showed up, everyone took notice.
Yeah,
there's not a scene. A scene he didn't steal.
I mean, and that's the weird thing. Like, yes, you have the De Niros and the Pacinos, but I mean, De Niro famously did Rocky and Bullwinkle, and Pacino did the weird Adam Sandler movie. Yeah, like
when I think you have actors like them who are clearly exceptional, pretty much across the board, but it's rare that they really take much of a risk. People like a Daniel Day-Lewis, they take risks, and they're willing to take on projects that are not mainstream, might seem a little bit weird, might come across as even a little bit off-putting. I think of even someone like Nicole Kidman, who is one of my absolute favorites of all time, but she is a fearless actress. She will take on stuff that is difficult. It's hard. It's not always mainstream, and I respect her so much for it. Like she would have been like one of my like not modern. She's modern day too, but like one of my
number picks. One for this. And again, this person I have over Kate Winslet and Daniel Day-Lewis, and this is a modern thing, so I'm looking for more from her. Is Olivia Colman?
Oh, yes, okay.
Most recently, she won the Oscar for The Favorite, and even that year, I didn't even pick her. I thought other people, but I kind of go back and I look back, like what she did in The Bear this year, like. Like she just elevates it. She was in The Crown as Queen Elizabeth. Like she is killing it. She does a little stint on Fleabag. That just elevates. I mean, like that's a great show. And then Olivia Colman comes in and it just there. Sure. You know, she's the different things. She's kind of like the modern day ad cred here.
Oh, like, okay. I know I'm with that.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's kind of like we can't get. Let's get Olivia Colman.
That's a choice that like it really made me think a lot, man. It's not a name that crossed my mind, but yes, that's such a great fucking choice. And I like that you kind of went with like a someone from right now or whatever. And like, to be clear, like all of these actors and actresses are from right now too, but some are just more from a little bit like right now. I guess like they're up and coming, as we've said, and
I picked a
they're
few
finding their
seasoned
way.
actors.
And yeah, no, I love that too. God, that was the reason I actually went with a slightly newer thing, because I had too many motherfuckers to choose from if I went
Well,
this
that's
season,
it. There,
and I
there are a
could
lot
not
of
narrow
people
that
that,
shit
that
down.
land on your favorites and
Yeah.
such.
So I guess the best way to end this, I know we didn't really discuss it, but do you guys have a favorite James Earl Jones quote?
Oh God, I am gonna say from me no, because I was not prepared for this. So no.
Good. So yours is Luke. We had Luke, I am your father. Got it. No problem.
Luke, I am
No,
your
that's not
father.
the quote.
Yes.
That's not
That's
the quote.
not how it goes. I
Wait,
know.
how
I
does
know,
it
I
go?
know.
Teach me,
I am your father.
Right.
Luke.
He never
Oh,
says
it
Luke.
just
He never says Luke.
oh,
Obi-Wan
never
never
says, "Luke, I am
told
your father."
you. Yes, Obi-Wan never told you.
oh,
You
new
told me
roleplay
enough.
just dropped.
told
Oh
me.
my
He
God.
told me you killed him.
No.
No.
And then I say no.
No, I am your father.
I mean, for me, it's always going to be the baseball speech from Field of Dreams.
Oh, and you've done that
Oh, I
on
thought you
here
were going to say
before.
Sandlot.
But think about that, man. Like, he's in two of the greatest baseball movies of all time. I mean, and he's just barely in them.
Yeah.
But he leaves a hell of an impression. How about you, Mr. Brad? Do you know?
I'm such a Star Wars fan, so it would have to be I am your father.
Oh,
But I'm trying to roll a bunch of other Star Wars quotes because I just no. I am
well,
your
I
father.
was going to say, while you do that for a second, there was a Star Wars game that was out on like Xbox 360 and shit. I think it was called The Force Unleashed, maybe.
I love that.
And you,
so good.
Well, when you start that game, like you are Darth Vader for a minute.
That is my favorite part of the damn game.
Oh, you just absolutely mow through hoes. You're just like,
you're on Kashyyyk and just
hoes are like, they're just like, fuck this shit. You're just knocking hoes to the side.
You find the kid and
fun,
the stormtroopers see, and then you have to murder the stormtroopers. Like, this is a good time.
Right? But yes,
well,
rest in peace,
James Earl Jones.
Respect you, homie.
Thank you for everything you've done.
Yeah, we absolutely lost a legend. We'd love to hear your guys' take on James Earl Jones or any of the things that we discussed today. Like, subscribe, tell a friend, phone a friend. Please just do anything to just one more view. Just one,
like the word, man.
One more view.
Word. Have some fun. We're having fun.
Especially
we ain't too proud to beg.
YouTube now. Yeah, like especially since we've come to YouTube now, like it's just kind of like complicates things in a way and makes things a little bit more exciting. And you're kind of like trying to bring a previous audience over to a new thing and all of that kind of stuff. So any support that you guys give us, we could not be more thankful for. And I'm pretty sure we all come across as this, but we're just three guys who love to get together every week and just talk about this stuff. And we love movies, we love film, we love TV, we love entertainment, and we love each other, and we love to sit and talk, and we want that to be infectious for you guys. So yeah, thanks guys. We always appreciate you tuning in. So good night, y'all.
Thank you very much.
Awkward ending.
There it is. Always. Shit.